The bolder the colors we wear, the more confidence you have. But what do you fear most? What are you most scared of? Halloween. Are you scared of the ghosts, the dark, money, your health? What about change? A lot of people are afraid of change. Your brain actually does not want you to change. Your brain wants you to stay safe, live as long as you can, have a couple kids, pass on the gene pool, and survive. Taking risk means that your brain is afraid that A, it could die, it could not do what you're supposed to do. Everything around us is changing today. You got the leaves are changing, the temperature's changing, the squirrels are changing as they get fat as all get out in our neighborhood. But human nature recently is to reject change. We're afraid of it. And I kind of want to know why, right? So Inc.com did an interview with the author of 13 things mentally strong people don't do. Her name is Amy Morin. And if you have a chance, watch her YouTube. She has a TED Talk on there going over one little tidbit that I'll throw in there for you to think about. Again, it's Amy Morin. If you scroll through Facebook and you envy your friends, it will lead to depression. That is a fact. She's a psychotherapist. That's a fact from her work. She listed the top 10 things that people are afraid of that keeps them from moving forward or holding back. So the top 10 things that she had was number 10 is the loss of freedom. People are afraid of the loss of freedom, so they don't make decisions to keep on going forward. The next would be inadequacy. They don't feel good enough. The next would be being judged. People are afraid of being judged, so it holds them back. Getting hurt. I had to look into this one a little bit from what she was saying, but the fear of the uncomfortable feeling of getting hurt can keep you from building meaningful relationships and connections. People are afraid of something bad happening. I'm sorry, everything isn't bad. Isn't that life, right? But people are not going to move forward, or people are afraid of moving forward because they're afraid of something bad happening. Uncertainty is number 5. Now this is where it starts getting real in my book. Rejection is number 4. I think guys know this a little bit more than most of us. We get rejected a lot. Failure, number 3. I actually thought that was going to be higher on the list. I was surprised that it was at number 3. So what's number 2 and number 1? The number 2 reason people do not want to move forward is loneliness. And I was really shocked by that. I will let you determine what that means. If you're afraid to make a decision and you're afraid you're going to be lonely, in my opinion, 50% of marriages in the United States are end in divorce. So that's just a poor reflection on us, I think, in the first place. The number 1 reason that people hold back in their lives is change. After reading this, I made my determination on and my hypothesis on it, but I kept on going back to the fact of, can't change lead to all of those? Can it lead to feeling the loss of freedom, not feeling good enough, being judged? Can it lead to rejection? Can change lead to failure? Yes. So is it possible that we're associating all of the negative things that happen in our life with change as opposed to just life? If we change our routine in the morning, something bad happens through the day, do we accept, hey, this is just life and we move on? Or do we get pessimistic and go, oh, I'm just not going to do this again because I don't want to feel this pain? Change can be emotionally damaging. Change can be physically painful. My fear, and the thing that I'm scared of most, is I'm going to be the same person next year that I am today. That scares me more than anything. How do you change? How do you change the person you are right now? I think there's 2 ways. I think you either make a conscious decision to change your life and have discipline and determination and follow through. I think the other way is that the universe makes you change. And that's if you're lucky enough. The alternative is if you don't change, you're the same person every day, and I don't think anyone's happy staying the same and not growing. The trees, if they stay the same height, they will lose to the other trees around them growing. They will lose their light, they will not be as strong and big, and they will die. The butterfly, if the butterfly does not change, it will not fly. So change can be a very good thing. Newton's law of motion, the first one, is the law of inertia. The law of inertia states that an object at rest will remain at rest. An object that is in constant motion will continue to stay in constant motion unless it is acted upon by an external force. My wife and I were hit by an external force. We were moving so good, so fast through life. We got married. We were going to start a family. This was back in 2016. Everything was going so well. We were not as lucky as a lot of couples who had the ability to have a family right away. We had to work very hard for that. We had to go through a lot of different things that not many couples have to go through. Fast forward to the point where we had decided to adopt. We had to go through the adoption process, the home study process, which is grueling and very difficult and taxing. But after 12, 18 months, I forget the exact date off the top of my head, but we were approved towards the end of summer in 2021. We were selected by a birth family in California in October of 2021. We were starting a family. We were so excited. We were selected. We just finished our home study. Our vibrations were so high. We were in a constant state of motion. You couldn't stop us. We were just on cloud nine. Preparing 7 months. We knew we were going to be parents. So you prepare as much as you can. You have to tell your family and friends. You have to tell your employer. Because you have to prepare for being gone in California for up to 3 to 4 weeks, and then you're bringing a baby home, right? So you get so excited, you get so pumped up, and that's when the external force stopped us dead in our tracks. The day before we were going to go to California, she was born, and the birth mother tried to have the baby at a different hospital to hide the fact that the baby was born, but we had pretty much a bolo out, be on the lookout for her to have a child, and the hospital informed our adoption agency that she had given birth. They also informed us that she is no longer going to be adopting out the baby to us. The sounds that I heard from my wife when she called me when I was on my way home from work, excited because we were leaving for California the next day to meet our little baby, were unforgettable. I'll never forget that sound that she made when she called me. And it was the most difficult time that you could ever imagine. We cried, but we went to California anyway because we were hoping she would change her mind. She didn't. But we were at CPS 2 days later asking for questions until pretty much we got kicked out of there. Being told we can't help you. There's nothing we can do. So we stayed. Our adoption agency didn't even come and offer us to give us lunch, to take us to lunch or anything. We were out there by ourselves. Me and her. So during the day, we would try and do stuff to stay positive and keep ourselves happy. And at night, after she went to bed, I would be stuck in my own head. By the grace of God or the universe or whoever you think is out there, we had our carpets cleaned 2 weeks before we went to go get our baby girl. And my carpet cleaner, who had been over to my house many times, had said he had a carpet cleaning van for sale if I knew anyone looking for a carpet cleaning van. He knew I was in the car business for years. We had talked about it many times. I said, I've got a great job. I'm not in the market for that. I've got a baby coming. I got a great job making 6 figures, more than I even deserve. I am lucky, right? Until that happened. And then you sit back and you go, why does this keep on coming into my head? Why do I not stop thinking about this nonstop? So for the next week, after my wife went to bed, I would stay up for 5-6 hours a night watching videos, realizing that the guy that was cleaning my carpets wasn't doing it right, realizing that I think I could do this. realizing that if we wanted to get back into motion and start moving again after that abrupt stop, that we were gonna do it our way. It was not gonna be, I'm just gonna get going back in the same track. I said, what do I want out of life? My biggest thing was, what do I want out of my life? The car dealerships took everything from me: time, energy, motivation. They sucked you dry. They pay you well, but they sucked me dry. And I just figured that was normal. That's what I had to do to make the money that I needed to, and I thought money made me happy. Well, once you lose everything and you lose all of your money, and you're left with nothing, you realize that it's not money, because that's gone in the drop of a hat. So what I wanted was freedom. I wanted time. And this carpet cleaning van, I brought the attention to my wife after about a week. She took me over we walked over to CVS in California, and I went to buy a notebook. And that notebook, I even got grief from her for paying $3 or $4 more, because I'm cheap as hell. If you know me, I'm cheap. I paid $3 extra for this notebook that said "Invest in Yourself" on the cover. During the next 2 weeks that we were in California, she and I watched every video together. I made a business plan. I put goals in of a company that I hadn't even started yet. I had jobs. I had income per month while I was going to be working part-time at Classic. And I also set a date that I would quit my current job while still in California, without purchasing a van, without even starting an LLC. I made goals that I made up in my head. We got back here. We had to inform all of our friends and family that we were not bringing home a little baby girl, and that was the most difficult thing we've ever done. But we stayed together and did it together. We bought the van. A week or so later, my LLC for the company was formed before I even purchased the van. It was formed before I even took the van to go get a service check to see if I was even going to buy it. But I knew that's what I had to do to get moving forward again. So, bringing up all of that, we took a risk. We had no money left. We took a loan out to buy that van, and we took a risk. My brain said every single part of the way, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I was working 80 hours a week. I was never home. I was working my 50 hours a week at Classic, and I was working 2 days a week at part-time working my company. I would leave my job at 6:30 or 6 o'clock at night and go do a customer appointment at 7:30 at night. Get home at 9:10, clean the van for an hour, start a business and doing accounting, doing all that stuff. So I would average about 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night for about a year and a half. I quit my job within 4 or 5 months of starting this company. I surpassed my goals I surpassed them by 6 months. I thought I was going to quit in the March of the following year in 2022. I quit before 2022 ever ended at Classic. I say that because if I didn't take that risk, I would still be miserable in the same position that I was in. And the one quote that stuck with me the most, I don't know if it's Tony Robbins or who, but rock bottom can be one hell of a place to build a new foundation off of. So within a couple of weeks of me buying this van, my neighbor, Patrick, had said, "Hey, what's this? Like, what do you got going on here?" He invited me to IRN shortly thereafter. I went and I joined. And it wasn't about the referral passing for me. It was about being around other professionals that were doing what I wanted to do, and I could pick their brain and ask them, "How did you do this? What are you doing? What were your challenges? What's the advice you have for me? What'd you screw up? And how do you manage a work and home life balance?" Which I'm still trying to figure out. It takes a village, right? Our support from our families and friends when we came home was overwhelming. And then I realized that starting a business, it also is overwhelming how much support you get from your community members. My business has revolved around networking. I have a very easy business to network with, but only if I ask. There's a lot of carpet cleaning companies going out of business. There's a lot of people that are dependent on the internet to get their leads. I depend on each one of you. I depend on my team. So my analysis after talking with all these people is, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is the saying yes. Uncomfortable is very much so saying yes. And I challenge you to say yes. Say yes to what you love. Say yes to new challenges. Say yes to new responsibilities. Say yes to new people. Say yes to fail. But it's not about the failure, it's about the person you become when you do fail. How did you respond? Who did you go to? What did you do? The bankers, the financial people in the group, you are better when you're diversified, right? You grow more when you're diversified. You have more eggs in one basket. Each one of the people that I've invested in make me more diverse. And I can reach out to them and go, I need this, this, and this, and they can help me with that. The positive effects from saying yes, and this is not for me, this is from a website that I love, creativity goes up. You're reducing stress. The more you say yes, the more you reduce stress. And the reason is, you take out the complexity of decision making. You just know you're going to say yes. Building rapport. If I say yes to more people, I'm around more people. I'm doing more one-to-ones. I'm spending more time. I'm learning what other people do, and I can help find those. And then building confidence. I've only got a minute or so left. So confidence to me is your internal credit score. We all know credit scores are based on, did you pay everything on time? How are you using your credit? Are you managing it correctly? Do people look at you and go, I'm okay with giving him $100,000 because he's proven in the past he can do it? But your internal credit score is, how do I feel about myself? Did I say I was going to wake up and go to the gym this morning and didn't? Credit score down. Did I say I'm going to start a diet and I lasted a week? Credit score down. How many first New Year's resolutions have you made that by January, the end of January, they're gone? Credit score down. How do we build up our credit score? Well, it takes a lot longer to build it than it does to lose it, right? So make your payments on time. Use your credit. Get new credit. Show that you can manage it. So in internal scores, wake up on time and be there when you said. Credit score jump. Okay. Use your intro, set goals, right? Small ones. Go do a cold plunge today. Uncomfortable. Did it. Go vegan because you want to live longer. Did it. Quit smoking cigarettes after 18 years. Did it. The small victories that I do every day and the discipline that I hold now, which I didn't before, allow me to do large things like start a company with nothing. Like start a second company after I've already got one and I'm overwhelmed. CLE exterior cleaning started this spring. Do things that scare the living heck out of you and know that you are the one that is going to push through it and have the confidence. As my credit score grows, I'm well over 800 right now in my internal credit score, which means I can take on things that I never thought I could, and I have the utmost confidence in myself that I'll be able to do it. All of that comes from saying yes. Saying yes to things you're not comfortable with, saying yes to things that scare you. And so this Halloween, all I'm gonna ask is that you do something that scares the living heck out of you today, something that you normally wouldn't do, and see how you feel once you do it. Thank you guys.
Wow.